Well, I'm surrounded by smoke this side, and I've got freaking steam this side. Well, the big question is, what's going to happen next down at the Boyd? Friggin' hell. I think LCD will be missing old Elvis. He'll be... He'll be having fun trying to give him a steak dinner, I'll put it like that. You sort of wonder how worried the guy's going to be about old Elvis. Seeing now that he's got a job! Maybe the only thing left is for LCD to get a job! I'm sure LCD will just change his direction onto all you trolls who he was going to sue the pants off of anyway, blah, 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 and whatnot, and, you know, this whole fucking Predator Watch website, blah, blah, you know. What was it again? Oh, Missy Jen had such a happy day at her health results, and then come back to find that, you know, this Predator Watch site claims that, you know, Rosie's being abusive to her girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. Oh, God. Get cut, you know, you got a couple of fucking, talk about fucking drama. You got a couple of people who are, you know, really hardcore, oh, let's face it, they're just hardcore assholes, you know. And, you know, you get people out there who, they've got an agenda, and you could say me and many others are like that, you know, Jack Sparrow and a whole bunch of others, you know, were people who didn't like e-beggars and, you know, wanted to sort of, you know, make them get a fucking job, basically. And, you know, you got others out there, and I reckon LCD would fall into this category, that just like to raise hell. You know, it's just, the more fucking, you know, there's not really an agenda per se, but it's like the more people fucking getting fucking ran into the ground, the better, you know, and it's just like, so what is your actual agenda here? And there may well be an agenda. And sometimes it's a bit, you know, well, you know, Jimmy rants. Thanks to Mike Mundane, I've never seen a, it's popping up now in the recommended views when you write in Rosie O'Kelly, but I never really knew, you know, I knew Jimmy Rants was around, and I used to see him on Vlogger Puppets videos about him, and then he just sort of fucking disappeared. And I didn't really know what it was all about. And then I see the Rosie O'Kelly going off, you know, and you can kiss my ass forever, Jimmy Rants, and you know, it was all big ego fest, and everyone fucking, you know, got accused of riding on his coattails and all this sort of stuff, and it basically, he just went fucking berserk, you know, and he kept coming back under umpteen different fucking sock puppet accounts, you know, still fucking stirring shit, and in essence, it's some of these people who are just outright arseholes, I'm going to say it like that, they can think what they want to think, but some of those people who are in that category, what it is, it's really ego that's driving them, and anybody who disagrees with them or you know, goes against their ego or whatever, or doesn't praise them up, you know, gets taken on. So anyway, you know, I sort of got nothing really against LCD. I got nothing to do with him, and by the sounds of it, I don't fucking want anything to do with him, really. So anyway, but you sort of wonder what the next, situation's going to be, I swear to God, I swear black and blue that fucking, I can make a whole nother video on this one, and I probably will, that Rosie is just likes to pretend that she's socially naive, and she's fucking not, and she's all like, oh, I didn't know that people who fucking ask for money may not actually need it. You grew up in White Trashville. I've seen 8-year-old girls who know that. And if she can't see that this grizzly bear with a fucking saggy tits isn't a toxic person, after making a video about toxic people, and, one video later, her channel was closed down. If you look, you'll see there's a gap where her channel was closed down for like 2 months or whatever, and you'll see, and there it is, going on about toxic people. I went in there, there's no comments in there. I don't know if it was part of the fucking losing the account thing or whatever, but no comments in it, so I put one in there, and honestly, the description sounded like her and Elvis. People that always want you to praise them, but they're lucky if you get a comment or two a month, and they really ain't watching your videos, but they just want you to build them up. And she was explaining Elvis, and, how the fuck you can deal with old Elvis, and then all of a sudden, oh, well, this grizzly bear's fine. Oh, fuck off. Don't talk about toxic people in one hand and then sit there promoting the, all mates with the grizzly bear. I mean, the grizzly bear's one of the most toxic fucking wackos I've fucking seen. In this country, that person would be institutionalised. Or something else that happens out in the outback. And what they do is if they have a real problem person, the entire fucking town alienates them. And they won't get served at the shop, and they won't get fuel put in their vehicle, and nothing. They just fucking refuse it because they cut them off, because they know they've got nowhere else to do, nowhere else to go. And the entire town just fucking, and goes against them. And the long and short of it is that often enough there's only one cop in the town, and that one cop just sort of says, well, it's out of my power to do anything, and there's fights between different Aboriginal tribes that go on in these areas. And there's a guy I come across, he was a truck driver quite a few years ago now, and he was talking to me that he'd been up in these areas, working as a miner, and he saw 2 entire tribes, and he said it was everything from 5-year-old boys to fucking grandmas and grandpas having a punch on. These 2 tribes come together in the middle of this town, and it was fucking on for young and old, literally. And he said, and the cop's sitting there, supposedly on duty, sitting on the veranda of this place with a beer in his hand. He said, mate, are you going to do something about this? And he said, what can I fucking do? Backup's fucking, 4 hours away, and I'm the only one here, and if I get involved, I'm going to get the shit punched out of me, and for what? He said, all I do is just fucking pick up people off the ground and fucking, who wants to be taken down to the clinic to get a bandage or whatever, who's fucking, anybody broke a bone or whatever, and then if anyone wants to lodge charges or whatever, I've got to fill out some paperwork for it. But you can't stop a whole fucking tribe going against a whole other tribe. And I reckon if she landed, person in question, the grizzly bear, landed in that sort of a situation, they would be fucked. The whole town would turn against them, and if you're in the right area or the wrong area, and whatever perspective you're looking from, you may even get fed to the crocodiles. That doesn't happen on a regular basis, but don't think it never happens, because there have been cases, and I've seen a case on TV. The guy had a lot of enemies. He was only a short distance, probably half a mile from his house, and he broke down. He walked back, got the part he needed to get out of another vehicle, and he went back to fix his vehicle, and he was never seen again. One of his flip-flops was beside the river, and I think maybe even his wallet And that was it. Oh, we're looking into this investigation, this murder that happened 2 years ago. We're still looking for leads to ascertain where the body of blah blah. Fucking stupid ass cops. This river was absolutely infested to the shithouse with crocodiles. It was very well known to have a huge amount of crocodiles in it, and nobody swam in it. And it was obvious what had happened. It was very obvious. And these dumb cops, we're still investigators, keep investigating. You know, what you need is an evidence bag and start picking up crocodile shit. That's what you need. In case you don't know, which many of you probably don't, crocodiles actually come out of the water to shit on land and then go back in the water again. That's what they should have been doing, is bagging up the crocodile shit and taking it back for testing. But they should have been doing that like 2 years ago, because last time the river flooded, any of that would have been gone. But I reckon if she was out there for a few months, she'd see the she'd have the narcissism thrown straight back in her face big time. And there's a lot of towns where people don't do anything wrong, and you know, there's towns that are dominated by Aboriginals, and you know, it's known as an Aboriginal area type of thing. You know, the majority population is black, and for the state, or as we call it, territory, and it will become a state. Is it this year or next year? It's becoming a state or something. Of the Northern Territory, they actually have more black people than white people, and up around there, and in some of those parts out in the outback of South Australia and Western Australia and Northern Territory, there are people who, you know, some of the black people attack some of the white people for no reason whatsoever, just because they're basically, well, it's wrong to even say the black people are attacking the white people. What it is there's a couple of hot-headed black men who attack fucking everybody. That's basically it. And the black people who they attack ain't going anywhere, because this is my land, this is my country, this is my people. But the white people decide that maybe they just better fucking move somewhere else. And, you know, I was reading about one town, and they said the last white woman moved out of town after being attacked by a chainsaw. Yeah. This is, you know, people getting attacked by axes and chainsaw, that sort of shit happens, and it's just, you just get areas where they're off the rails, and it's usually, a lot of it's alcohol-fueled violence, you know. Yeah, you know, I think people like that need to be forced to live in places like that, and we'll see how long their narcissism fucking lasts. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know who I'll be talking about more often, but I noticed one thing after a bit of a waffle on about, you know, stuff to do with some person being a money waster, and then, you know, I asked them where Mr. Big Wheels was, and they said, oh, maybe he's taking a break from YouTube. They made one or two other comments, and I don't know if it was me. It probably was nothing to do with me. I wouldn't give myself that much credit. But for whatever reason, this person's wiped all the videos on their channel except 3. So I don't know really why that was, but because I only made 1 or 2 comments. I mean, that's not enough to fucking make anyone do shit like that. You know, the guy's got a lot of people that think he's sort of daft. You know, I don't mind him, to be honest, you know. I don't mind him, but I sort of do realise that the man with Dino the whatever, Dino the van, as far as I'm concerned, you know, he's working, and I'm glad that he's working, but he's, you know, he's not the sort of guy you'd want as your lawyer in court, I'll put it like that. he's not the brightest spark at all. But, you know, he's generally speaking, I believe the guy's on the right track, you know. And, you know, sometimes brains is just genetic and there's nothing you can do about it. And, you know, he isn't any worse than the average blonde, I'll put it like that. Not sure that he has much stuff, you know, that I could be bothered talking about. To be quite honest, like, well, he's not bright. And well, his quality content is about as quality as the man now patrolling a fucking Texas oil rig. How many videos can you make about trees getting cut down, man? Fuck me, he's as bad as me showing videos of my fucking cat bringing in rabbits. I sort of do that just to prove that it brings in so many rabbits, and there's one that I didn't even bother showing you anyway. Actually, two that I didn't bother showing, because one was in the middle of the night. But this is the thing, like, Coates doesn't have enough fucked up shit in his life really to be even worth talking about. If Coates was going out with fucking trannies on a regular basis and shit like that, yeah, then it'd be sort of funny. I don't know, occasionally gets you prostitute and whatever, but I'll put it like this. And I can't say, at least he's not getting them off Craigslist, because I think he might have been getting them off Craigslist. Shit. Well, I'll put it like this, they're not black guys with a fucking wig on and a dress, you know. But yeah, inevitably someone else will, you know, continue the fucking circus. I think there's plenty of possible contenders that I could talk about, and it won't be too long before I end up talking about someone else, but it's sort of funny, like you win the war, and then you're like, fuck, now what do we do with all these fucking, with all these tanks, all these jeeps, all these troops, all this ammunition, and we've won the war. What do we do now? Turn around and go home. Shit. You know, it's a bit like that. Finally, the old Assyrian van dwellers, we always used to say tick-tock, 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 boom. The alarm's gone off. It's finally happened. We're fighting so long for it to happen, now it's finally happened. It's like, fucking hell. What are we going to do? Maybe you lose the job and be back in a couple of months. Who knows? You never know with him. The only thing you do know with him is he's going to find and meet black guys with a wig and a dress on and try and chat them up and then upload it to YouTube.